folks, welcome back to Pigs in a Bullet. My name's Neil. Last time you saw me, we made a Dr Pepper BBQ sauce, and as promised, this time we're going to be making some ribs to finish with that sauce. What I've done so far, I've got a rack of spare ribs here that I'll show you in a second, and I have trimmed them, pulled the membrane off, and what I'm going to do is an overnight rub. My process is I coat the ribs with honey, and then generously with my sweet barbecue rub on top, wrap them in foil, put them in the fridge overnight, and get ready to cook tomorrow. So stay tuned, we'll get after it. All right, so as you can see, I've got a rack of spare ribs here. Again, I did trim a little bit off the end here just to make them nice and square. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to flip these over and start with the back side and put some honey on it, then my rub, flip it over, do the top side, and then we'll wrap it in foil and put it in the fridge. All right, folks, that about does it for the prep. I'm gonna wrap these in foil, get them in the fridge overnight. We're gonna get them in the smoker, and I will see you guys then. Folks, it is the next morning. We are gonna get these ribs on the smoker. Gonna be using my 18-inch Weber Smokey Mountain. Got some B&B hickory lump charcoal and apple and hickory wood. Let's get after it. All right, so that's getting us started. We got the ribs on, we got a nice light smoke coming out, pit coming up to temperature. We're just crossing over 200 degrees. All right, so I'm guessing about a 5.5 to 6 hour cook. My process is for about every hour or so, I'm gonna spritz this with apple juice to add a little sugar and moisture back to the bark. Once I hit an internal temperature of 195, I'm going to glaze this with my Dr Pepper BBQ sauce. And then it should be about another hour. We're looking for a finish temp of 203. And then we will pull them, let them rest, and then we'll slice and eat. All right, folks, we are about 2 hours into the cook. My internal temp is sitting at about 151. Pit temp is sitting at about 235, which is pretty much right in that zone. I kind of keep it between 225, 240. So we're gonna check them, see what kind of color we're getting, and do an apple juice spritz. All right, so as you can see, we're starting to get some good dark color on here, which is exactly what you want. If you're using a lot of sugar, which I am, you will tend to get a darker rub. So we're looking pretty good here. So let's go ahead and spritz this. Now, while I'm doing this, one thing I will caution you on: if you're using a probe like I am to monitor the meat while you cook, it is absolutely perfectly normal for the temps to drop on the internal temp when you spray it with apple juice. All right, so we got it spritzed with apple juice, and what I was trying to say there at the end was any liquid that you add to your barbecue as you're cooking, unless you have it on the pit at the same temperature, will drop your internal temp just a little bit. So be prepared for that. If it drops a couple of degrees, don't worry about it. It's perfectly normal. It's just that difference in temperature on the liquid just cools it down just a little bit, but it comes right back up pretty quick, so don't worry about it. Folks, we are coming in on 4 hours now. You can see we got some really dark color on there. Looks really good. Gonna just give it a little bit more apple juice here. We are sitting at about 175 internal, so we got a couple hours to go. We'll check back in when we mop. We are about 5 hours into this cook. We just hit an internal temperature of 195. So what I'm going to do now is take my Dr Pepper BBQ sauce that I made last week, and I'm going to sauce these ribs with a moderate coat. I don't want it too heavy, I don't want it too light, so I'm just going to give them a good medium coat and let them cook for another hour until they hit an internal temp of 203, and that should give us a nice glaze on top of these ribs. All right, folks, I got them pulled and got some slices cut here. As you can see, we got a pretty decent smoke ring, some good color. Bark looks amazing. Now it's time for the taste test. All right, folks, it's time for that all-important taste test. Let's see how we did. Taste is great. I'll show you here, just a nice clean bite right off the top. That's exactly how I like mine. I don't want them falling off the bone, but I don't want them hanging onto the bone too tight. So you want to be able to take a nice clean bite, and you can see exactly where I bit into it. So now the most important part of barbecue is eating. So I'm gonna do that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you like what you see, subscribe and leave us a comment, and give us that thumbs up. Thanks so much.